What up, everyone? All right, we're live to NFL Fantasy Today show. I got my man Nathan Hernandez here at NateH714, one of the few Twitters I've actually memorized. We're live. We're going to be talking AFC West. We're just doing our team previews. We got the NFL Draft Guide coming soon. So we're just doing the deep dive, crunching some numbers, seeing who we like. Oh my God, my dog's driving me crazy. So Nate, say what up. Let her out.
Oh, good. What's going on, guys? Just wrapped up the AFC West preview that y'all saw coming out this week. One of the most exciting divisions for this upcoming season. Should be a ton of points. A lot of young talent brought in on top of what was already there.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah. So I wrote, is it the best division in football? Right? We got the NFC North, but we had 3 playoff teams last year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the West, AFC West still has it, or would have it now, if not already.
Because, I guess Chiefs got better. They get Rashee Rice back. Another year they're worthy, maybe healthy Pacheco. Chargers are young. Broncos are young. They only added, didn't lose any pieces. And your Raiders, right, added, well, I guess they didn't add Bowers, but another year Bowers is going to be great. Added Geno and then Giante, right?
Mm-hmm. Big time.
So let's just jump in. So let's just start. If you had to rank them, they got those bets where you can, predict how the division finishes. How do you think it's going to finish?
I think that my gut still thinks Chiefs win. It felt like they coasted to 15-2 last year, and it felt like they were barely trying half the season or just winning at the last second. And then I'd probably go Broncos, Chargers, and then a little bit further down the Raiders.
Okay, and do you think 3 playoff teams again?
Definitely, should be in the top of the mix.
Okay, so let's start at the top. So Chiefs, 15-2. I think they didn't score 30 in any single game. Mahomes was it was a QB8 or QB11. I can't remember. I was doing back-to-back years. What's going on? His yards per pass keep going down, but is there a chance this year they flip it because they got all the weapons that they go back to being explosive, or do you think they like who they are?
Yeah, I think they kind of had to change their offensive identity just on a whim because they lost Hollywood Brown the week before the season started. They lost Rashee Rice a month into the season. Kelsey, did he go down early at the beginning of 2025?
No, last year he missed the first game. He played, but he was chilling. So
gotcha. But yeah, just they had to change. And I think that's reflected in bringing back Hollywood Brown on another 1-year deal. I think they felt like they didn't have a chance to enact their full offensive plan just by running it back with them.
Okay, so now Rashee Rice, I think he had 30 targets in the first 3 games. But then Worthy was, I think he was a top 15 wide receiver in the fantasy playoffs. And then we got Hollywood Brown. Who ranked the wide receivers for me for in terms of draft capital? Who would you want based on where they're kind of going?
Yeah, I think I have, and that's I'd go Rice, Hollywood, Worthy.
Okay, wow.
Just on capital alone.
Yeah. Well, so why Worthy go 3? Because he's sophomore. He's the fastest player in the league. We've seen how Tyreek Hill and Mahomes loves fast players, but break it down for me.
I think it's simply just a matter of capital, and I think you kind of have to pick one of these 2 Chiefs receivers to be that guy, and I think Rashee Rice is going to be that guy. Worthy had so much vacated target volume to absorb last year, and he did a lot of work with it, but there was just the target competition wasn't there.
Oh, that's true. Okay, what about so I was doing some stuff on the Chiefs today. Worthy, he had 3 rushing touchdowns, right? I think he had 9 total. That's a nice little bonus, right? 3 rushing a couple hundred rushing yards. That's a couple of fantasy points a game. That's nice. But you think so? What's Rashee Rice's ceiling? Is he a wide receiver 1? Let's say top 15?
I think so.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow.
I think we saw it last year. He just
got hurt.
And I think he's already got positive news coming out of camp. It seems like his court date isn't going to affect him this season. And it should be rules up if he's able to get going by if he's already out there now. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to pick up where he left off.
Sure, wheels up. But I think I know I tend to do this. It's like, okay, they got hurt. They had the year off. I mean, I can't even think of a player who actually was kind of wheels up right away. I think, yeah, maybe week 5, week 6 for sure. But, we go like, oh, this guy's a freak. It's like Rashee Rice. He's a freak, And he might be week 1, but I found year over year we make the mistake. We don't give these guys enough runway up to, get back up to their fantasy potential.
100%. It's definitely the risk is there for sure. It could easily be Worthy has the opportunity early on while they still ease Rice back in, and he just doesn't let go of it, right? There's also that outcome is very in the realm possibility.
But I think you had Pacheco as your player to beat his ADP.
Yeah.
So break that down for me, because I think Chiefs were a top 7 passing team, but Pacheco got hurt, came back, Hunt, they signed off the couch. So what makes you think Pacheco is gonna kind of resume his role as maybe a top 20 running back?
Yeah. The Chiefs had 450 rushing attempts last year. They were middle of the pack. And that's while they were enacting this grindy offense that they were, just trying to mill the clock as much as they could. And Pacheco, it felt like he was rushed back from injury, and it seems like he's the type of player who would play through injury if he could.
That's true.
And they didn't make a significant enough move to indicate that they wouldn't want Pacheco to be their primary back this year. I don't think adding Elijah Mitchell or Brashard Smith this offseason is enough to really challenge him for the lead back role.
Okay, so what is Pacheco like? What's the if or I like? Would you rather have Pacheco or Joe Mixon?
Mixon for sure.
Okay. So we got to move. Okay, we got to move down more. So what does that stay in the AFC West? Like Pacheco or what about Najee Harris or Amari and Hampton?
I'd probably want Hampton in an upside case, or just for the upside case of Hampton. But it's close in a day one point of view.
Okay. Well, so let's move on to another team. So Chiefs, are they a fantasy buy for you? Because I wrote that they're like the fantasy booby trap, because everyone thinks of Mahomes as the 50 touchdown guy, but he's really like this check down guy. And the Chiefs really just grind clock and then beat you by a point at the end, right? You can't argue it's 15-2, but Chiefs buy, no buy. Tell me why.
I'll never be out on the Chiefs entirely. So in best ball, I have my share of him, but as far as redraft, it'll be hard to click some of those guys just because we've been burnt 2 years in a row. Mahomes went from averaging 4,950 yards and 39 touchdowns from 2020 to 2022 to just 4,050 yards and 27 touchdowns the last 2 seasons. So it's a massive, massive drop in volume there.
I checked his game or his stats, and I couldn't believe he was under 4,000 yards last year. That's crazy. He's just under, but still, I mean, and he played every game, right? I think maybe not the last one.
Yeah. So the argument against the Chiefs is just that they weren't able to be the offense that they were planning to be last year. They lost, as I said, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, and Pacheco. Their top 3 of their top 4 offensive contributors out the gate. And if that was their floor case last year, right, then assuming that they're able to hit somewhere between that and the ceiling, it should be a top 10 offense.
Okay. So do you think, is there any chance we get old Mahomes, like 4,500 yards, 35 TDs, which that would be the floor a couple of years ago. Now it's the new ceiling.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think they were working with what they had last year, and we could have saw it last year if they were healthy, and I think that it's likely that they could easily run it up this year as they did in the past.
Okay. Anthony's in here. What up, AQ? Anthony goes, Chiefs are primed to throw the ball 35 times a game. Yep, that is probably true, but if it's just check downs and little wheel routes and drag slants, I mean, it's an effective way to get first downs and keep the ball in Mahomes' hands, but not to score 30. Okay, let's go Chargers, right? So we had Harbaugh came in, run. They drafted Joe Alt. They had J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. They weren't really that effective. Dobbins was okay. Herbert started slow, then peaked late, and then we had the Lab McConkey breakout, right? Do we think more of the same for Chargers, right? They play very deliberate, slow, do what they want, kind of like the Chiefs. Or maybe do they break out with Najee Omari and Hampton, another younger lad? What are we thinking about the Chargers?
I think that it's all systems go for the Chargers.
Okay. Is that better than wheels up?
I'm looking for new ways to say the same thing, I guess. But there's just a lot to like about this division. Jim Harbaugh had an epiphany this year or this offseason. He was saying that he has to get Justin Herbert to the Hall of Fame. And you can't do that without having a Hall of Fame statistical portfolio behind you. And one could lead you to believe that Herbert could have the least let go a bit here, and he airs it out a bit more with some more talent in his wings. But they also countered that by adding a crazy upgrade at the running back position with those two.
Right, but Herbert's another guy like Mahomes, right? First year, 31 touchdowns, then 38 touchdowns, and then he only had 23 last year. It just seems like these really good teams with good defenses, they're not pushing the ball downfield, right? We saw the Eagles do it, run. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith were barely involved. We saw the Bills do it. They were run heavy, right? Josh Allen, rotating running backs in, Allen running. So it's kind of this new normal with these good offenses, good defenses. They're kind of playing defense on offense, right? Because they know they can get first downs and eat clock, wear down the defense. I worry about that a bit with the Chargers, right? Because I think they ran 59 plays a game, which was like 29th in the league. But who are you targeting for the Chargers for fantasy?
Ladd McConkey is a big target for me. Of the two running backs, I'm all about Amari and Hampton. He was my favorite non-Genty prospect coming out of this class.
Favorite, really?
Favorite non.
Yeah, of course. You don't even have to do the qualifier.
And there's just if he winds up getting a significant work share in a run heavy offense, he'll be a steal in the fourth round right now. And I had a prediction, or not a prediction, but I posed a question like, it feels like the Chargers are the next in line to have a first and second round running back and receiver, like the likes of the Eagles, Lions, and Falcons. They were so efficient through the air that they were 10th in yards per attempt through the air, despite being like 5th lowest in attempts. So with all the talent coming through there, it felt like they were capped by their talent, and all the depth that they added this year should only help them reach their ceiling.
Wow, so they were airing it out. Just the eye test memory doesn't feel like that, but so I guess Quentin Johnson was going deep. Because they had Josh Palmer, Ladd was doing everything, but that doesn't track in my head. But stats are stats. It's good.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I do remember the Chargers having games where it would be just Ladd McConkey with 8 catches for $150, and then no one with over 40 yards in their on the stat sheet. And maybe there's a threat to that workload share for Ladd with the talent that they added. I think that Trey Harris is a significant receiving threat. And if they have 3 employable receivers out wide at a time, I think that it could pull from Ladd, but I don't know.
So who's your player to beat his ADP? Who did you like as a little sleeper?
The late rounder to beat.
Yeah, let's go late round.
Late round. So I had the rookie tight end, Oronde Gadsden.
Oh Jesus, that's a deep dive.
So he's basically undrafted right now, but he was a receiver turned tight end. He's got he's like a receiver in a tight end's body, and those like the Kyle Pitts type of profile that if they somehow wind up being this vertical tight end threat, they're a game breaker, but
been hearing that for years, so.
Yeah, and it's just they lost. They didn't lose him. They added Conklin on a 1-year vet deal, And it just seemed like they had minimal commitment to the future. So if Gaston finds a way to hit the field running and get that starting tight end role out the gate, then he's a steal.
So you liked Hampton. You said second to Gianti, but is that his talent or situation? Because obviously we like the Chargers O-line, we like to run first. But I bring this up all the time. Najee's never missed a game, right? So the odds of him kind of not getting hurt, and like if it was Dobbins in Hampton, it'd be like, oh my God, you have to draft Hampton because Dobbins goes down every year.
Yeah, well, 100% was a talent based.
Okay, nice.
And it was super frustrating to have him land in the backfield with Najee, because if he wound up being the guy in Denver or anywhere, it would have been great to see. But
oh my God, Denver, yeah. So hypothetically, if he was on Denver, is he what, like a top 20 pick?
Yeah, if he was in Denver, he'd probably be like with James Cook, or no, he's already with James Cook. I'm sorry. With like the Chase Browns in the next tier up, like
Wow.
maybe in between Chase Brown and Kyron.
Okay, so Herbert, do you think he's a QB2? Like you wouldn't build your fantasy team around him as a QB1? Yeah, he was running a bit last year, but he doesn't have like actual running upside.
Yeah, just because of the team's habits last year, it's hard to count on him to be to provide QB1 production. And you want that rushing upside if you're not getting an elite pocket presence guy.
Okay, so Mahomes, Herbert, who'd you rather have for fantasy next season?
Probably Mahomes, because I like the weight of the receiving talent in Chiefs to their rushing talent versus Chargers.
And they're probably pass first. Okay, let's keep going. We're cooking here. So, okay, Broncos. Right, everyone, they kind of snuck up on everyone. I was shocked to read that they got like the best O-line in the league. I mean, Bo Nix is old. He looked terrible to start. He was awful on the road. And then he finished the season doing a little bit of everything. They got Cortland Sutton. Marvin Mims finished the season great. Anthony's guy, Evan Ingram, he gets him in best ball. I think, did you say to fade him, though?
Yeah, so I'm just out on Evan Ingram just from it's more so in a best ball standpoint because you need touchdowns in best ball to win, and Evan Ingram hasn't had more than 4 in a season since his rookie year, and he had 6 that year. He's been a PPR machine in Jacksonville, and that's how he's done his damage. And I would just rather shoot for a with the tight end position. I prefer touchdown or like a red zone type of body.
Doesn't he have a big body though? He's a big athletic guy. I feel like he's always going over the middle and like stiff arming people.
It hasn't shown in the red zone, I guess.
True. Okay. So let's keep the go. So Bo Nix, Pat Mahomes, or Justin Herbert for fantasy? Who are you taking?
I like Nix.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Me too.
He's got the rushing upside. The offensive line was so good last year. They were I found they were first in pass block win rate and run block win rate.
And Anthony's calling you out.
10+ touchdowns. I don't know if I could get there, but I wouldn't be surprised either. I'm not out on Ingram by any means.
Well, I mean, right? Cortland Sutton's the only real threat. He's not really a true wide receiver one. Mims could break out. Okay, would you rather have Cortland Sutton or any of the Chiefs receivers?
Oh, Rashee Rice for sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's just maybe the glut of the 3 versus, Sutton on his own. But, yeah, I probably agree.
That's interesting, though, because there's a big gap between them and ADP right now. And I don't know if it should be that big.
Yeah, Sutton was frustrating. He started hot. I remember then I started betting him, and during the end of the season, he just wasn't catching balls. Denver was still winning. Okay, so you like Audric Estime, but all I hear is RJ Harvey stuff, and then you came out of nowhere. I read you like Audric Estime to beat his ADP. He was kind of in that like triple cadre of bad running backs last year. I think he had that one good game. Everyone got him on the waiver wire. Then he didn't do much. So sell me this Audric Estime.
So I don't have to do that anymore. I prefaced it. I mentioned the Broncos as a potential host or a suitor for Dobbins or Nick Chubb in the piece about Estime. And the second that Dobbins signed, any investment in Estime feels kind of doomed, just because it's such a significant talent gap. Like Dobbins was good, I feel like in Los Angeles,
really
really
he was good in Baltimore.
He the only like drawback to it, like he lost like a bit of juice. He would get caught on breakaway runs, but if you don't really need that from a third down back if he's mixing in behind RJ Harvey, who's doing the damage for 60-70% of the game.
So Amari and Hampton, RJ Harvey, who would you take for fantasy?
Well, I still lean the talent in Hampton.
Okay. Because really, this Harvey is this the best situation in football? You're in kind of because we know Sean Payton loves his running backs. There's not that much competition. You got the running QB and the great O-line, and they're a really good team, so they're going to be playing from ahead, right? It's just like this perfect cocktail for fantasy running back. It's like I don't even care who it is, but I know I'm going to be investing in RJ Harvey because of the system. I don't even know the talent that much.
100%. The fact that they had such poor running back production last year and led the league in run block win rate just goes to show that they were starved for talent. And if it's not clear, I think that the Dobbins addition doesn't hinder Harvey at all. If anything, it just eliminates any threat, or not threat, but any chance of Estime seeing a featured role.
Okay. So just quickly, anyone, if you're watching on Twitter, come over to YouTube, like, subscribe, Fantasy NFL Today Show. Check out our Discord. All right, I'm dropping the team pages every day. We got the Twitter at Sportitos NFL. Right, I'm dropping threads, comments. We're all in. It's only June 11th, but we're kicking into high gear. We got the full draft guide dropping in a week, and then we'll be dropping articles every day. So check it out. We are halfway through our team pages, starting with the NFC tomorrow. Jesus, that's fast. Okay, so we'll come back full circle, but let's go hit the Raiders, right? We can see the Raiders blurred out in the background. They were kind of a joke last year, right? Between Aiden O'Connell, Minshew, and someone I'm not even remembering.
Ritter.
Ritter, yeah, that's why. And then a running back, Sincere McCormick, the couple running cast-offs, the Vikings guy.
Madison and Abdullah.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, I think they were 32nd in fantasy points to running backs. It was awful. But Brock Bowers led the NFL in fantasy points per game. Like, have we ever seen a tight end perform like that with zero quarterback play?
It's crazy. It's kind of hard to comprehend just what Bowers' ceiling is if he was able to do that with that and getting Geno Smith in this offense with an improved offensive line. I don't even know what we're in store for this year. He could get 200 targets.
Oh, wow. Because, Geno, I think he was fourth in passing yards last year. I guess we haven't really seen him support a tight end, but Seattle never likes tight ends. It's not really that big a deal. So Brock Bowers, I'm a tight end guy. I'm going to have a don't pass on Brock Bowers rule. I already have a don't pass on Nico Collins rule. If I get Nico and Bowers in any leagues, I'm just going to keep entering them and just take everyone's money. Where I think Bowers is 20th ADP on Fantasy Pros right now. Where would you feel comfortable taking him, and where would you your hard I'm not passing on him be?
Yeah, I'm taking the bet on him in the front end of the second round. And if the price got steeper than that, I wouldn't stop clicking him. Like if he wound up a first round pick, it would be hard to just to ignore it,
So if you're in a 14-team league at the turn, you're going Bowers and somebody?
Probably. I think it could be that significant of a gap.
And then, because I don't understand, people don't like tight end. People always say fade tight end. I get it. If you don't get hyper elite tight end, pass on them. But if you're getting 15 points from your tight end, and they have they've got Evan Ingram who's getting you 5.5, and you got a 10-point jump of your matchup every week. That's massive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we talked Bowers. So we're gonna get to Gianti, but let's do some vegetables first. So Jacoby Myers, right? kind of a sneaky season last year. Do you have his stats? I don't have them handy here. Do you got any good Jacoby stats for me?
I don't have them handy right now.
That's okay. That's okay. But
sorry.
Again, right? He succeeded without a QB, right? Which is probably even harder. Wide receivers are on the end, further past. But who's the wide receiver 2 in Vegas other than Brock Bowers?
So it's kind of not certain yet. I think it should be Jack Besh.
Oh yeah, you liked him in the draft.
Yeah, I think he should be he just hasn't signed his rookie contract yet. We haven't seen him on the field, but I think he should wind up the wide receiver 2. I don't know if it'll be day one. I think it should be. He seems like a pro-ready player. And then we drafted another rookie in Dante Thornton Jr., and he'll compete with Trey Tucker for that kind of vertical role.
Okay, so let's stay with the theme. So Jacoby or Cortland Sutton? Who are you taking?
Sutton for sure.
Sutton. Okay, so Jacoby. So because he's not really a wide receiver 1, so he's like Sutton. He's not a wide receiver 1, but he's in a wide receiver 1 role. But do you think playing next to Bowers helps him for fantasy, or are they gonna have to share for targets?
I think that Bowers is he's gonna get his no matter what, and that could come in the way of Myers on days where the Raiders' offense just isn't hitting. I think there's going to be some growing pains with the offense here and there, and I think that Bowers won't ever take that hit. It'll come in the form of Myers or any secondary pieces beyond that.
Okay. So Gino, would you what odds would you need for Gino to lead the AFC West in passing yards? Would you like that bet?
I would take it at plus. I don't really know how to context, but I'd say plus 300.
It'd be way more than that.
Okay. I'm just under the premise that the Raiders should be playing from behind a lot more than everyone else in the division.
Okay. Because fantasy wise, if we're ranking QBs, so what? Both Knicks, Mahomes, Herbert, Gino.
Yeah, that's how I have it.
Okay, but they're all pretty. Is Knicks kind of a half tier above, and the other 3 are kind of glutted?
Yeah, so I'd have Knicks as a surefire. I have him as a fringe elite QB, chomping at the bit. I'd even probably put him ahead of Burrow, just because of the rushing upside and the potential growth.
Burrow had 44 touchdowns last year. The terrible oh my God! Wow. Okay. I mean, but I'll take Burrow.
It would be there would be an argument there for sure. It is the rushing floor. I don't know. It's a lot to like. But where were we?
Oh, let's go to Deontay. Let's do the steak. Okay. So he was second to Barry Sanders' single season record, which is being second to Jerry Rice's single season record, right? It's essentially breaking the record. It's the best second place in the world. What are we doing? He's I think projected as 10th. The Raiders O-line's pretty good. He is an absolute dual threat, crazy person. The OC, what's the OC? The Philly guy?
Chip Kelly, yeah.
Chip Kelly loves throwing to running backs and feeding running backs, right? Playing at a fast pace. I mean, if somebody took Deontay first overall, would you call them an idiot?
No, he's got the RB1 overall finish in his bag for sure. I think it's just a matter of how, to hit the full season mark, how fast does he hit the ground running as a bona fide RB1? They don't have the running back depth behind it. I have Raheem Mostert as my late round flyer, just because who else is going to run the ball behind him? And Mostert has a history with Chip Kelly. He's been with him at Philly and in San Francisco.
I didn't know that.
He was 2 years removed from scoring 20 touchdowns. Just kind of took the last year off, able to just recover.
Well, he got hurt week 1 because he's the oldest running back. He's the new Frank Gore. I mean, he's probably broken, but yeah. I mean, so
for the plays that it's more so like a best ball bet, right? For the plays that Mostert is on the field, he's probably going to be productive, even if that's say he gets 120 touches on the season, I think that's probably more significant or a significant spot by an undrafted running back.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get it. If Deontay gets hurt, Mostert could fail upwards. I mean, like Sincere McCormick was having some decent games, right? If you get the touches. But so Deontay, like, because I feel like these rookie generational talents come in with all this hype, but even like Bijan, I think was the RB10, right? Because they weren't running the ball, they were splitting him. Gibbs was a first round pick, but I think he was right behind Bijan. I think Saquon's like the only kind of rookie who's come in and just dominated from the get. Like, are we worried that maybe Deontay next year might be the first overall pick, but this year, if you take him 10th and he's the RB10, is that a loss?
Yeah. I'm currently how I'm drafting him in best ball as if he is like a the RB1 for the back half of the season. Like, I'm drafting him with other running back pieces who can help carry him for the first part of the season. So I'm not drafting him as like a hero running back, like an absolute anchor to hold down the position. But if I'm taking him with another serviceable back who's projected to be a significant starter day one.
So, okay. So the other thing, it's like Bowers, I love Deontay. Love what his potential, but I just like to look at divisions. Maybe I put too much weight in the schedule, but it's like Chiefs, great defense against the run, right? Chargers got a lot better against the run, great defense. Denver, very good defense, right? So it's like you got 6 games against really good defenses. Is that something to worry about a little when thinking about, investing in the Raiders?
Yeah, definitely. They do have a pretty significant strength of schedule, and part of that comes with the division they play in. If I remember correctly, their average opponent has above a 500 win percentage, even though they finished last in the division last year, which is supposed to help weigh that down a bit. So they got an uphill battle for sure, and it's a first year in a new offense, top to bottom, new coaching staff. New personnel. There are just some things that could definitely get in the way of like kind of this honeymoon phase that we're seeing with Genty to the Raiders.
My worry is for fantasy playoffs, right? Week 15 at Eagles. That's the worst thing in the world. Then next week at Texans. That's what, 2 top 5 defenses for your fantasy playoffs, and you're on the road. That scares me. So, but I'll probably be getting Bowers regardless, and I might go. I'll get GNT somewhere just to root, but that's just that's the worst fantasy playoff schedule possible, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. You're probably not getting past the Eagles if you're relying on Genty as your hero.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go. Let's talk division overall. If you had to, Brian always talks about this guy in the league that always just drafts Bills players. And he overpays for them and takes them early, but it's like you get Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and you're in the fantasy playoffs and you're a top 2 seed because that's how they do. So if you had to do that, invest fully in one of these 4 fantasy teams, who would it be? So you get the QB, you get the running back, tight end, and a wide receiver, or 2, right?
Man, that's close.
It's some good ones, right?
That's tough. I think I'd probably lean, if you're only taking the cream of the crop, I'd probably lean the Chiefs.
Okay. So
just because I think they're front weighted with their talent, whereas like the Broncos and the Chargers have like a lot of secondary pieces who could take away from like the big like the elite season potential.
Yeah, I guess Chiefs, you love your wide receiver room, right?
Yeah. You're. I don't know though. Denver might be where it's at.
Okay. Are you? So we didn't talk about it, like Marvin Mims. I always get fascinated by guys who finish the season strong. I think he had 90+ yards last 2 seasons. Last 2 games. He's a great big deep threat. Knicks has a cannon. Where are you on Marvin Mims?
I'm very reluctant because I really like Pat Bryant.
Okay.
And he, not really like, but he got a significant draft capital from him. So, and to see that reflected, Yeah, there's a lot to like. He had, what was it? He had 3 game-winning touchdowns in the final seconds last year. He's a bit slower, but he had a 4.640, but he still averaged 18 yards per catch. So he's still got some. He's still able to get downfield despite lacking some speed. He can play inside and outside. He knows how to work vertically, but also or work horizontally, but also win vertically when going downfield. Devon Bailey is also getting some buzz right now, and it just could get a little clogged for Mims, and his ADP is a lot steeper than the other guys.
Other guys who get it for free. Okay, so what? All right. So Ladd or Rashee Rice, and then we'll talk about something else because that seems like 2 elite wide receivers.
I think Ladd is a safer bet.
Safer bet.
So I go Ladd.
Rice higher. Does Rice have a higher ceiling? More because it's more pass first, but
I think so.
It's just those first 3 weeks. I felt like every time it was just Mahomes and shotgun hitting Rice right over the middle. And he was wide open. He's getting 12 yards every time.
Man, now you're getting me excited for Chiefs football. That's not good.
Okay, what about we've been doing a lot of best ball. Anyone who has a big variance best ball versus redraft? Because I guess it's all about the spike weeks or.
Yeah, I'd imagine someone like Marvin Mims isn't going to be seeing a good what do you call it, a reliable weekly role in that offense. Just given the mouths that they have to feed, they have rushing talent now, and I'm sure that's going to take away from the receiving production here and there.
Okay.
But yeah, he's like the perfect best ball profile of a player that you want to get those spike weeks, but hard to start him here in and out in redraft.
Yeah, okay, for sure. Just let's go another minute or two. ADPs, right? That's a big thing. We got OTAs. We get all this news, best shape of their life. He's got a bigger role. He expanded his route tree. But what players do you see having a big ADP jump from now till late August? Like RJ Harvey, I think is an obvious one, right?
Yeah, Harvey jumped so high off rip though it's hard to see him going any higher. But I think Pacheco could be a slow burn as people realize that they didn't add the talent there, just isn't lacking. If Kareem Hunt is still the top competition for targets or for opportunities, I would take Pacheco with the fresh offseason to recover.
Okay. Sure. Anthony says Worthy best ball. That's a great one, right? I mean, because I was doing some Worthy deep dives today. I'm writing about sophomore wide receivers, right? He had those 2 bombs in the Super Bowl. Plus, they do the gadget play, right? Where they the pre-snap, they get him on the curl, he catches it, and he just gets to go. That's pretty good, especially if Rashee Rice takes a little while or Hollywood gets hurt again. I mean, I think Worthy has a path to being a top 15 wide receiver.
For sure. It's definitely there. I think that I agree with Anthony in that I like Rice more than Worthy, but I still have my I think I have 9% of Xavier Worthy just because there's too much talent. Chiefs, it's always there.
Okay, so back to we'll just wrap up with this. So ADP, who do you see kind of jumping up? I guess maybe if Omarion Hampton has a great kind of summer and if he's the RB1 on week 1, they say that out of camp, right? That would probably give him a nice boost.
Yeah, it'd probably bring him up a bit. I still think that you have to respect Najee if he's active though. Enough that I wouldn't be hammering Hampton up any further.
Okay. Anyone else? Or anything? Any cool stats you got from doing the AFC West? Anything that jumped out at you that was weird, random, surprising?
The Pacheco played 80% of snaps in week 1 last year, and that's like a 3-down role that you're pining for. And if he is that same player this season, then he should be easily a top 20 running back.
So yeah, you're big on this Pacheco. You keep coming back to Pacheco. Okay.
I just feel like he rushed
his,
back, and there's no talent there fighting him. And he had the role last year. He just got hurt and didn't have a chance to be himself again that year.
And I love how furious he is. He's just one of those physical running backs, right? Attacks line screening. Okay, so this is great. Anthony, you brought the heat. So remember, anyone watching on YouTube, Twitter, jump over to YouTube if you're watching it. I guess on after, that wouldn't make much sense. But make sure you like, subscribe, give us a comment, right? Fantasy NFL Today Show. Check out our Spotify, our Discord. We're all over Discord and posting stuff all there all the time. We got our chats going on. But Twitter is probably the best way to hit us up. All right, I'm doing threads on all Anthony's previews, stealing the stats, pretending they're my own. So that's great. But otherwise, yeah. And Nathan, did I say Nathan or Anthony? Oh, I got confused. It's Anthony with all the questions.
It's all good.
But this is great. So AFC West. So we got the NFC East starting tomorrow. Probably have somebody on next week. We'll keep breaking it down. We're gonna have more info than ever this year, and it's only June. We got months to go. All right. Thanks, Nathan. We're out. Boom.